It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is Amy Kane. She's the Breast and Cervical Cancer Program Manager for the Arundel County Department of Health. Amy, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, some background first. This show is dedicated to a woman that was my friend, a former news director of WNAV, Barbara Cox. Our topic today is breast cancer, primarily in the African American population. Barbara died November 14, 2014 of cardiac arrest. Prior to her death, Barbara had gone through a battle with breast cancer. She was an outspoken advocate for early detection and treatment in the African American community. She was in the process of starting a local chapter of the Sisters Network when she died. The Sisters Network is a nonprofit devoted to increasing awareness of the impact of breast cancer in the African American community. I do have to ask, Barbara did die of cardiac arrest. She had extensive chemotherapy during her course of breast cancer. Is there a relationship there?
There could be a relationship there. I am not an expert on that. That's not my expertise, but the chemotherapy does cause damage to the heart. It can cause damage to the heart. It can cause damage to your neuro system, where people have, neuropathy in their fingers, in their toes, their feet. So the chemotherapy, if you think of it, it really is, a toxin that you're putting in to get rid of those bad cancer cells. And yes, it can damage other good cells like the heart, the liver, things. Yeah. So with her having cardiac arrest, could it been because of the chemotherapy damaged part of her muscle tissue of her heart? It could be that. I don't know the other factors, but
I don't either. But
yeah.
I know. As I said going into this, I'm sure she would have wanted me to ask that. So I'm doing that. Back to your program. Let's talk about that.
Our program for the Anne Arundel County Department of Health, we do screenings for the low-income, no-income population of our county, and we do target the minority population. And for us, we target the African-American community. We go into pastors of local churches will ask us to come to their services, and we have had our staff members go to the service, and they'll give a quick talk for maybe 5 to 10 minutes to the congregation, and then afterwards the congregation will come to our staff member that is there, and we'll give them information about where you can get free screenings that we pay for. In our program, we are out in the community. We use the breast center. We have local doctors in the community, North and South County, and the Annapolis area.
We do have residents in the county that want to have these screenings done, may need to have treatment thereafter, but would prefer going into a different area to do it, like, for instance, Baltimore. Do they need to remain in Anne Arundel County if the treatment is being paid for?
If the treatment is being paid for, they can stay in Anne Arundel County, but we have 2 great breast centers in Anne Arundel County. But they could go into Baltimore if they wanted to. If they get into a program, it's called Diagnosis and Treatment, and it's through the Maryland Department of Health.
Okay, very good. To circle back around for a minute, we are talking about African American women. Historically, there has been a lower incidence of breast cancer rates than white women getting breast cancer in the African American population, but death rates among black women have historically been higher, and that has continued. The black-white disparity in breast cancer death rates has increased over time. By 2012, and I'm not sure recently, but you have some statistics, death rates were 42% higher in black women than white women with breast cancer.
That is correct. And what the research that I have read say that it's more or less the African American women or the black women are getting breast cancer diagnosed later. It's at a later stage. So that is why screening is so important to get into the African American community, to say, you need your screening. Don't come to us when you already have noticed that problem. Let's get you screened earlier. And if a problem is detected, then we catch it at a stage 0 or a stage 1, not at a stage 4, where that's where a lot of the research have said it's the screening rates are lower. And that's why the African American community, the mortality rate is higher than for the white community.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, more about this issue. This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me is Amy Kane, Breast and Cervical Program Manager for the Anne Arundel County Department of Health. We're talking about the higher incidence of mortality in African American women with breast cancer. Amy just said part of historically what that has been about was not getting mammograms at an early enough age. What is an early enough age?
The CDC now states that between 40 and 49, you should discuss with your primary care provider when is a good time to have your mammogram. Should it be every year? You look at your risk factors, genetics, your health habits. Are you a smoker? Are you do you consume alcohol? You look at those risk factors to determine. But for our program, we do recommend yearly screening for women at age 40.
Speaking from my own personal experience, since I am a breast cancer survivor, I was in a high risk category because of genetics. I was not positive for the BRCA gene, and I do recommend people to get testing for it and consider it for what it is. It's another thing that we should be aware of. Anyway, negative for the BRCA gene twice, positive for breast cancer. Caught at stage 0, so you were talking about the importance of early detection. That's early detection. Stage 0 is almost microscopic.
Exactly, yes.
However, the diagnostic tests, the mammograms, the MRIs, are one part of the equation. There's self-exams and exams by doctors or medical.
The clinical breast exam by the doctor and the
often.
nurse.
The other part of this is there is a high-risk category group of women that often hospitals will call you high risk, and you are then getting MRIs followed by mammograms, and thrown into that are the exams almost every 6 months, sometimes sooner. Yes?
Correct, yes. And for the MRIs, they are doing MRIs now for the high-risk group of people. In our program now, we are allowed to pay for the MRIs, where 2 years ago we were not. But now they have found that the MRIs are beneficial for the high-risk group.
So for those that can't afford it, you're picking up the slack. Currently, the Affordable Care Act says that you get a yearly mammogram, and there's no charge for it.
Correct. However, though, when the screening mammogram is covered, but then if someone were to need a diagnostic mammogram or a left breast ultrasound or right breast ultrasound, a lot of times those services are not covered by the insurance from the Affordable Care. So what we do, our program will then pick up that patient and say, hey, we will be able to pay for your diagnostic mammogram, your breast ultrasound, because they may have a $3,000, $6,000 deductible. And for someone who, a working class single mom or anyone who can't afford that because their salary doesn't allow them to pay for that high deductible, we can then step in and pay for those services for them, and even take them all the way up to breast cancer ruled out or diagnosed. And all the services that we pay for, that goes towards that person's deductible. So then they do not have that out-of-pocket expense. Yes, the insurance will cover the screening part, but what about the diagnostic part that is not covered? That a breast ultrasound out-of-pocket can cost them $300.
Oh, yeah, and they add up. The tests
exactly,
add up.
And then that leads to, okay, now I need a breast biopsy. Oh, I need a physical before I have that because I have asthma or I'm on blood pressure medicine. So all those things our program will cover.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. And I actually wasn't aware of some of this. So access to follow-up care after an abnormal mammogram could also explain the survival gap between African American women and white women. I'm reading some literature I have here. Delays in follow-up may play a role in the lower survival rates among African American women. How do we deal with that?
It's more education, getting out there in the community. A lot of people, they'll get scared because they don't want to know. If I don't know, that means I don't have it.
Right.
And so it's getting out into the community saying, if you need follow-up, follow through. There are services out there for you to help you pay. There are, if it's an income thing, there are services, there's programs,
or
child care. There are the Red Devils. There are so many other support groups that are out there, not just financially, but that can help you. Churches, the American Cancer Society, things like that, groups that are there for you.
And you'd be amazed at how many friends come to the rescue
Exactly.
when you are just coming back home after surgery. I can attest to that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, squad. That helps me. So let's talk about how important it is to get that early detection, going back to that again, and going from how quickly you can go from stage 0 up to different stages and what that means when we come back. This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me is Amy Kane. She's the Breast and Cervical Program Manager for the Anne Arundel County Department of Health. You said early detection is huge. A cancer at stage 0 won't necessarily stay at stage 0 if left untreated.
Correct. If it's left untreated, it can grow and go to a 0 to a 4. And it all depends on also what type of breast cancer is it. Is it invasive? Is it inflammatory? Is it ductal? Is it in situ, where it has it spread into, it started in the duct of the breast and now it has invaded into the other tissue? Or is it just right there in the ductal part of the breast?
Now, somebody mentioned to me double negative in the African American population. Tell me about double negative.
Double negative is more, it's where the hormones, it won't respond as well to chemotherapies. There's broad scope of chemotherapy drugs. And when it's a double negative, and there's triple negative also, they don't respond as well to the chemo drugs because with the hormones, they can be, a lot of times you'll have a hysterectomy or the ovaries removed due to the hormones because those cause the breast cancer to increase. So the double negatives and triple negatives, they are harder to treat because the drugs don't work as the drugs that might work on a ductal, in situ cancer. On those other cancers, they don't work as well. So they have to combat with different types of chemotherapies.
Okay.
And I'm not an expert on that.
I got it. Again, this is Anne Arundel County Department of Health, which is at our service here in Anne Arundel County to help us through these topics. There are a whole host of experts within a 30-mile, 60-mile radius that are part of the equation.
Right, exactly. And even just right down the street from here.
Right down the street.
Yeah, at the breast center. Yep.
Okay, so where do people get a hold of you and find out more about this program?
Well, our phone number is 410-222-6180, and you can also go to the Anne Arundel County Department of Health website, aahealth.org, and you can find all the contact information is on the website.
On the website.
And in the Facebook page, and in the local libraries. Our pamphlets and posters are everywhere in the community. Grocery stores, doctor's offices, radiology facilities, pharmacies, anywhere they'll let us put our information, we put it there. My staff is out there distributing
and
it.
I'm holding one of the pamphlets now, and there's a lot of good information on it. The Anne Arundel Anne Arundel, Mountain Road, Pasadena. Really?
That's where my office is located.
That just threw me for a loop.
Yes, we're at 2501 Mountain Road in Pasadena. But it's best to just give us a call at 410-222-6180, and we can send the applications to anyone who is interested in our program. We'll do a little screening, a little interview to make sure that you qualify for the program. And if you don't qualify, we have resources that we can send you to get screenings done.
All right, and thank you for wearing pink because
you're welcome.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month. To be perfectly honest, I generally tend to try to hit these topics when it's not the month dedicated to it, because everybody else is hitting it during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But it is important to discuss this, and people are paying attention this month. I guess
they do.
So
they do.
Yeah. What did I miss that you would like to convey that you feel like doesn't get enough attention in your world?
I think really getting the word out about our program, and we try our best to get this information out and to let people know that we are here for you. And if we cannot help you, my staff and I will go and try finding what resources you may need. If we can't help you, we call doctors' offices. Will you see this person for, a discounted rate? Or
you are our advocate.
Yes, we really, really are. I have the best staff. They work so hard in the community and are out there hitting the pavement, trying to get the word out to everyone that we can. We hit health fairs, church groups, even in the schools. We try getting in the schools when they have after school presentations at night.
Right.
If they'll let us be there, we'll be there. The Board of Ed has been great with allowing us to get into the schools. If anyone has any event that is coming up and they would like us to give them our information, our pamphlets to distribute to their congregations, if they're having a health fair, if they're just having a bake sale and you think that you might be able to get this information out, we would love to get our information out to everyone. And know that there is help out there for you. Don't be scared about getting your screenings because you think something's wrong. If there's something wrong, we can help you. We can get you into the treatment. We have lots and lots of survivors. I still remember my very first breast cancer when I came to this program. I remember her. I still talk to her probably 3 times a year. She still calls me and gives me her checkup. Yeah. Hey, I was at my checkup, and that was over 10 years ago.
That's great.
So
one other thing that I just thought of, you need to be your own best advocate too.
Exactly.
And that's huge. I have had, and not related to the breast cancer, but I've had a positive cancer result on a skin, and never received that through, nobody called me. So when you have these tests done, call and find out. If you have not heard back from anybody, call.
Exactly. Call you, and if you're one of our patients, we always call you. You get letters. The doctor's office calls you. But yes, please be your own advocate. Don't just sit and wait. Well, I haven't heard from him. It's been 2 weeks. No, you call because it's your right to know
what your
I need my test results.
Right.
Yes.
Well, Amy, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure.
This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.